The jetty was built mainly because there wasn't a railway line to the Sydney market, so a jetty had to be built to take coal from the coalfields here by small 400-tonne boats and the Sydney Harbour. The jetty was very well built, all handwork, axe work, adzeman, all the steelwork was made by blacksmiths, and to anchor the jetty to the ground, 3-inch holes were drilled into the ground, steel pegs, which you can see in the background, were driven into the ground, and the piers had holes drilled in the end of them and put over the top of these to anchor them. They actually used divers in those days, late 1800s, very late 1800s. They actually used divers out there to somehow drill the hole. I'm not too sure how they drilled them, but I presume it would have been a big sledgehammer and a drill in those days.
By hand?
By hand, all done by hand, that's right. Timber was cut on site. It was gotten from the side of the hill here, side of the mountain. It was turpentine, most of it. Quite a large amount of timber used in the whole thing. The small ships had to keep steam up at all time so they could move off quickly in case a black nor'easter came up or a southerly came up, and head out to sea. They weren't actually tied to the pier, but they were tied to vertical sort of fenders, bumper fenders, which were big poles of timber, and they were separately anchored to the sea floor, but not attached to the jetty at all, so it didn't damage the jetty. It was very sparsely populated around here. The only other thing that was out here was a salt works, which was over near the point there. By the way, it's called Brickyard Point, but there was no record of ever a brickyard being out here. The jetties were damaged quite often. They had to be rebuilt, and the collieries actually couldn't mine coal in some of these instances because they couldn't get rid of the coal. There wasn't any big stockpiles to be had. They were loaded into skips, taken down here and put on the boat. If the boat wasn't there or the coal couldn't be unloaded, the mine didn't work and the men didn't get paid. They were laid off.
The Illawarra economy continued to boom, but the coal jetties along the coast were frequently washed away by storms or high winds.
The public infrastructure that we have along the coast, jetties and wharves, are not capable of handling the demand because the amount of coal that was being won from the escarpment was escalating dramatically.
Probably the only remnants that are here now are some spikes, the 3-inch spikes that were driven in the ground which held the piers in position. There is an anchor ring over there that is probably 12 inches diameter and a couple of inches thick, and that was the stern mooring. The boats were also held in position by a couple of buoys that were out anchored into the ocean, and they're over yonder. There's a peg sticking out there, and we believe that might have been an anchor point for a rope that came and held the boat in position. The wages of the miner depended on whether the ships were operating, and the profits for the owners depended on whether the ship was operating too. So, shipping was pretty hard in those days, and the weather, inclement weather, was really a major factor in getting the coal out to the Sydney market, I guess.